Mr. Gunn, I have a question for you.
Oh, yeah, baby.
Right out of the chute, I have a question because I'm blanking on this. I need help, okay? I need you to help me. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. Is there a team that only has one loss in the NFL? Is there just one left, and who would that be?
Yes, there is one team left, and that team resides in the city of brotherly love, baby.
7-1. How you like me now? What's up, everybody? Happy Monday, one and all. Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. That's Derek Gunn, the man with all the answers. I'm Rob Ellis, the man with all the questions. We're hanging out with you on this beautiful Monday. What is up, everybody? I'll work my way up from last to as high up as I can go. Sween Bull, Tina, Daz, Mood Swing Bella, Josh, JM, Bry Guy, Nathan, Steve, Carlos, Real MVP, Nafiz. What is up? What is up? If I missed you, keep them rolling. Keep them rolling. We'll hit you up, but we appreciate each and every one of you guys. Dominique, yes, 7-1. That is correct, Dominique, with the birds emoji right there. James, Kevin, how y'all doing? Unbelievable weekend, man. Unbelievable weekend. Manbar, what's up? Yeah, Derek, that was first off, how was your weekend? Well, we'll begin there and then we'll dive into the birds. How was your weekend?
First of all, Saturday, as I told you, Friday, we were doing this big harvest party called Family Fest.
Yes.
Incredible turnout. The hay bale pit where we had piñatas over. We had 4 different piñata sessions at 2:30, 3:30, 4:30, 5:30. We had 4 of them. And kids went crazy diving in the hay. Once the piñata, every kid get a chance to hit a piñata. And they dove in, and when they burst, you should see them like diving for a fumble, man. And then the last one at 5:30, we had extra candy, so we took the extra candy and threw it in as well. Oh my goodness, it was like a feeding. It was like piranhas on raw meat, man. It was so funny. And the parents are just standing there taking it up. Great turnout, better than we expected. 80-degree weather.
Yes.
Great group of people. Friends that go to our church. Friends who we have all came from different places, helped us out. What an incredible day. So, when was the last time it was 80 degrees on the last Saturday of October?
I honestly can't remember, Derek. I mean, it was perfection Saturday. It could not have been better. Honest to God. And yesterday was a little sort of rainy and overcast and misting a little bit. Nothing major. It was still warm. But Saturday, you couldn't draw it up any better. It was awesome. It really was, man.
The only way it could have been better is if I was fishing. But don't tell my wife I said it.
There you go. Understood. I see everybody else. Eric, JM, Scott, Josh, Sports on 88. What is up, Mr. Taz? I hope you guys are doing well. Appreciate you hanging out. Yeah, so the Eagles win 38-31. Certainly.
Stop right there.
Yes.
I want to set the tone for this show today. And I want to see what the responses are. Now, we know how people in social media love to twist and turn what we say. Not when I say we, but people on social media. Yeah. I want everybody to listen carefully.
Okay.
After 8 weeks, here's my observation. There is no dominant team in the NFL. There is no dominant team in the NFL, but the Eagles have done the best job of navigating adversities. Would you agree or disagree?
I would agree with that. Yeah, you're right. I mean, here's the thing. I think what happens is when you follow a team, you hold them to a different standard than you do other teams around the league because you're naturally inclined to want them to win. You want them to do everything the right way. You want them to win. You look ahead to what this could be down the line. And so it's natural human nature to do that. So I totally understand it. So this is not a knock, but if you're able to step out of the team that you follow, in this case, the Eagles, and look at what's happening elsewhere. I mean, here and Marcus, let me just touch on, I'm sorry, it moves so fast. I try to click on something else comes up. 7-1, but I'm concerned about terms. Yeah. And Marcus, there's nothing wrong with having concerns. The turnovers are concerning. Yes. Totally legit. However, the Niners have lost 3 straight.
Yep.
Okay. The Chiefs lost to the Broncos yesterday.
Yep.
If there's ever 2 greater examples of this being a week-to-week league, a league where it's hard to maintain every single game that you play, I don't know any better example. The Eagles win, and it might not always be pretty, and in some cases it might be ugly and flawed and all that kind of stuff, but Nick Sirianni has this group ready virtually week in and week out. And yes, they had the one toe stub to the Jets, but still 7-1 is darn hard to get to.
Oh, that just goes to show you how difficult it is. And especially because you are one of the 2 teams that got to the Super Bowl. You are everybody's Super Bowl week in and week out. Everybody is giving you your best shot, and 7 times out of 8, you have found a way to overcome that. But you mentioned the turnovers. I have a bigger concern than the turnovers. That pass defense, even with Byard, I don't think it's going to be much better.
Yep.
To be honest. Now, Byard is an all-pro, Pro Bowler.
And he'll just get better as he gets used to the system.
He'll get better. Yep. But I just think the pass defense concept is not going to be better. I just don't. I mean, it's nothing. But you don't have to be perfect to win.
Yeah.
You just have to win.
Yeah, you're not going to do everything great. And I think,
Right.
it's weird. That's the other reason why it's a week-to-week league. The week before, they hold Miami, the best offense in football, to season lows across the board. And then last week, or yesterday, excuse me, they can't stop Sam Howell. Again, it's hard to – that's why it's hard to make money if you're a bettor. But it's hard to really, get a handle on things the way things look. But I agree with you, Derek. I think that it's going to have to be one of these deals where your offense carries you in a lot of cases, because they're just going to, against the better teams, they're going to give points up in the air. They just are. You have a lot of young guys. Like yesterday, Eli Ricks gets burned on a play, and then he turns around and makes a great play.
Yes.
But that's what you get with young guys. That's just the way it goes.
It's part of the maturation.
Yeah.
Of growing in the National Football League. Luckily enough, they have enough veteran presence around them to disguise some of the deficiencies.
Yes.
That's just the way it is.
Mm-hmm.
And we knew it was going to be a growing process. We knew the numbers were not going to be anywhere near what they were a season ago for 2 reasons. Number one, a change in personnel. Number two, the schedule is much more difficult to navigate through this year than it was last year. That is just the life in the NFL. What you got had easy one year becomes a mountain to climb the next year. It's part of the game.
Well said. Yeah, well said. That's exactly the case. There's no doubt about that. So, all right, just to kind of, and we do our usual deep dive into the offense, defense, and all that kind of thing. But let's hit a couple of the footnotes here of what's going on here. So one thing I will say this, even though they lost that weird game last year to Washington, which was their first loss of the season, they're 11-3 somehow, some way since 2017 against Washington. They won 5 of their last 6. So however they did it this year, and they gave up 31 points in both games, but they've swept them out. So they've disposed of them. They've been very good against them. They're 4-1 this year in 1-possession games. So they're winning close games.
Yep.
They also win on the road consistently under Nick Sirianni. They're 17-5 in away games under Sirianni the last couple of years. So this is a team that has a lot of great traits and a lot of great characteristics, and the greatest one being 7-1. But the thing I'll say is, and clearly he's affected by that knee. Hurts was awesome throwing yesterday. He was just absolutely spectacular throwing.
Yes, he was. Yes, he was, man. But that you can tell that knee is bothering him.
Yep.
That knee is bothering him. But look, Jalen Hurts playing on one and a half legs is better than most QBs in the NFL playing on 2 legs.
Mm-hmm.
But he was money with his throws yesterday, decision-making. Yes, the red zone offense is going to be trial and tribulation. I mean, 2 fumbles inside the 5. Can't have it.
Killers. They're killer. And they're the kind of things, and we all know it, against the good teams that will bite you. They'll bite you if you end up making those kind of mistakes. The turnovers absolutely have to be cleaned up. There is no question that has to be cleaned up for sure.
Yes.
And AJ Brown,
it's so nice to clean things up. It's so nice to sweep up all the debris when you're sitting with the best record in the NFL.
Well said, my friend. It's easier to it's like looking for a job. It's easier to find one when you have one. It's easier to fix problems when you're winning. That's for sure. But the other thing is, can we now start mentioning every single time we talk about MVPs, and I don't care that he doesn't play quarterback, can we start talking about AJ Brown in any conversation? Because what he is doing is nothing short of remarkable. So Gunnar, nobody in the history of the NFL has had 120 plus receiving yards in 6 straight games. Let me repeat that. No one in the history of the NFL, not Jerry Rice, not every one of the GOATs that we talk about. This guy is doing something we've never seen before. And I never thought I'd say this. I thought T.O.'s 0-4 start before he had the injury was the greatest start that I've ever seen. Yep. This is right there.
This is ridiculous what he's doing. Now, first of all, you got to have a quarterback to give him the ball.
100%.
You got that. And when the ball's in your area code, you got to be able to pull it out of the sky. We got that. What A.J. Brown is doing is phenomenal. He's punking DBs left and right. And these are not just easy run-of-the-mill catches he's making. They're catches he's making that borderline and exceed the spectacular. That's how good he's been over the past 6 weeks and then some. Mm-hmm. It's quite obvious who's getting the ball come money time, which means, and we knew this could happen, Dallas Goedert, Devonta Smith, numbers will suffer because of A.J. Brown's spectacular play. Right. But you know what? Every quarterback has a go-to guy. You look at all the great quarterbacks that have played the game. Montana had Rice. Dan Marino had his crew. Bradshaw had his guy. All the great ones have their guys. Tua has Tyreek Hill. Who does Joe Burrow have? Jamar Chase.
Okay. And Burrow's back, by the way. We'll get to him later. He's back in a big way.
So you know what? Sit back and enjoy this.
Yes. This is rare. What we're seeing is rare. This type of dominance at this level is rare. And nothing short of spectacular. And again, one of the all-time heists, Derek, that trade.
No question about
how he wore a mask. It's one of the all-time heists that we have ever seen.
And see, people are saying, Darius Slay got hurt again. He's feeling his age. Bradbury's playing like hot garbage. Okay. True. And that's why I said, let me reiterate again. The Eagles are finding ways to win, but I am concerned about that pass defense. And even with Byard back there, I have major concerns about that pass defense. What I saw yesterday, we were salivating. What was your over-under on Friday in terms of Eagles QB sacks?
Oh, I thought 4.5.
4.5. We were salivating at the prospects of them getting 6 or 7 after the Giants dropped Sam Howell 6 times and hit him numerous times beyond that. Whatever line adjustments Washington made, they did as good a job as a porous offensive line can do of stonewalling that Eagles pass rush. Now, Sam Howell was getting the ball out of his hands quickly for the most part, but there were a number of times when he stood back there that extra second and went across his progressions and found a third receiver and made some strikes. Sam Howell looked like Dan Marino back there for a while.
He had the 2 best games of his career against the Eagles this year.
He was zinging it.
Hands
my
down.
goodness.
Yep.
And the Eagles DBs could do nothing for the most part with McLaurin and Dodson. It was unbelievable.
No, I mean, look, some of this you need good luck. You do. You need good fortune. Like McLaurin dropped 2 balls yesterday. 2 balls that he absolutely almost always catches.
No, he dropped 3. He dropped 3.
But 2 critical ones later. And I don't know what the heck the staff of Washington's doing. Like Ron Rivera was asked about that one that they didn't review, the Devontae Smith, that they clearly should have. And so here, it's not a good look for anybody. So he says, I'm looking up at our scoreboard to see if I could get a good angle of it. And none of my guys said to review it. That's an indictment of everybody. Everybody across the board there with them.
You have people sitting in the booth with monitors in front of them.
That's their job, by the way, on game day. Yes.
How do you not throw the flag on that? How many times do we see plays both in college and pros that a coach will throw a flag in a lot of cases before he gets the word from his people looking at the monitors?
Yeah.
It's a 50-50 chance they're going to win or lose. But
at that point in the game, you need it. You need to take a chance.
You slow down the momentum of a team. You just do it. And the fact that he didn't do that, you know what? I'll tell you something. Rivera might not make it through the end of the season. He might not. He might not, because there's too many enemies. That was a potential game-changing moment when he did not throw the red flag on that.
I agree with you. And it just, to me, and if the excuse is, hey, I'm looking up at our scoreboard, first of all, you're not getting the same looks that your booth guys should be getting, number one.
Right.
And anyway, that's their problem. But I agree with you. He may not make it. So you need a couple of breaks along the way, but you also make your breaks. So, yes, the pass rush wasn't getting home all game, but when you need it the most, Hassan Reddick gets there. Let me give you a stat from Tone. Our producer gave this to us a little bit earlier.
Yep.
Hassan Reddick now has the most quarterback sacks in the fourth quarter of
Yes.
anybody in football over the last 2 seasons. That's Nick Bosa. That's every other guy who gets after the quarterback at a high rate. He's got 11.5 in the fourth quarter in the last 2 years. So as much as we always look at offensive guys as, oh, this guy's clutch, he comes up big in the biggest of moments. That's Hassan Reddick. That sack on fourth down is a huge
That was huge.
play.
Momentum shifting play. Because I'm still, even at that point in the game, I'm nervous about this Eagles pass coverage.
Same here.
I'm telling you, but as soon as that ball snapped, when you see Hassan Reddick make that initial move and dip to the outside, he set that tackle up perfectly and then just burst.
Yep.
You know, that's vintage Hassan Reddick right there. They only had 1 sack, but it was the most timely sack of the game because honestly, as crazy as it sounds, especially the way Washington played against the Giants, I didn't think they could stop Washington yesterday.
Right.
I didn't think they could stop them.
Right. I agree.
Washington was hitting them on the perimeter with the run game. It's become quite obvious, and you've heard me say this a number of times over the past couple of weeks. Any team trying to run the football against the Eagles, you cannot run against them between the tackles, but you can hurt them on the perimeter. Mm-hmm. And when Washington started running the ball on the perimeter, that's when he started doing the damage just to make the Eagles play honest.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I agree. And losing Jalen Carter hurt.
Yeah.
Make no mistake, that hurt them yesterday. He went out with the back injury. But there was the Reddick play, which was huge. You know, and man, props to Blankenship. He makes some mistakes. He does have a nose for the ball. And he seems to be around either getting interceptions or breaking balls up a lot. He got the pick off the deflection, which was enormous. And props to the Eagles because they capitalized on both of those plays with touchdowns. They scored on both of them. So, when you had to have it, you got it. It wasn't pretty. They gave up over 400 yards of total offense. But when you absolutely had to have 2 defensive plays, they made them yesterday. And they turned out to be critical plays. So it was just one of those games, man. And the other fun part is, Derek, we're in Cowboy week now, man.
Yeah,
we'll get into what Dallas did, yesterday and all that, and they won. But there's nothing like this week. Like, I get it. Today is about what happened yesterday and blah, blah, blah. And we'll have time to really dig into the Cowboys as the week goes on. But there's a different feeling in the air when it's a Cowboy week. That's for sure.
Yeah. Yes. People, thank goodness, you know what? As much as we love 1:00 games, thank goodness it's a 4:25 and not the 8:30 game.
Oh.
Because between now and Sunday, people are going to lose their minds. They're going to lose their minds. And it's understandable because if they get past Dallas, they go to the break 8-1. Yes. And Dallas will be 2 games behind them instead of 1. But I tell you what, I'll tell you right now, Dan Quinn is coming after Jalen. They still have They still have the fastest defensive front off the snap. They are coming after Jalen, and especially now that the word is out, he's limping. They're coming after him. But I tell you what, I'm glad this game is in our backyard and not theirs.
Oh, amen. And here's the other part that's unique about this. It seems like Dak and Jalen never face off. There's always something. Like one of them's hurt. Like last year, Dak was hurt when Jalen played. Jalen was hurt when Dak played. Yep. So it's like, we can finally get a good gauge of this thing with these guys, with both of your big boys in there at the quarterback spot. That's the other part I'm really excited about with this.
By Friday, this town's going to be epic. There's going to be volcanic eruptions by Friday with emotions, and rightfully so, because this is huge. This is a huge matchup come this Sunday.
Yes,
huge.
Yes. All right. So Sports on 88 for trade deadline. Robinson from Redskins. First off, if you're the Commanders, I'm not trading Brian Robinson.
Heck no.
You need to keep your foundational pieces. Is it fair to question, do you need a running back at the trade deadline?
Yes.
Yes, it's totally fair. Derek, I think they have a blind spot is the best way I can put this when it comes to Kenny Gainwell. Kenny Gainwell to me is a guy. He's a guy. He's okay. He's not terrible. He's a good depth back, But when you have somebody like Swift, who isn't accustomed to a massive workload over the course of a season, I think you're starting to see it maybe wear him down a little bit. You need a complimentary back in there who's going to give you more production than Gainwell's given you. Now, maybe that's Boston Scott, or maybe it's somebody from the outside, because they seem to not like Penny. Penny's inactive every week.
Here's what I said on our post-game show yesterday, and JAKIB Sports put it out there on Twitter/X, and it picked up a lot of steam. And here's basically what I said: it's time for the Eagles to admit Gainwell's not the answer. It's time to elevate Boston Scott. I think Boston Scott deserves more touches in the running game, the passing game, and I think he's the best blocking back they have. He's a small back who's hard to find behind those big linemen. So by the time defenders identify where he is, he's already 2 or 3 yards past the line of scrimmage. You do not bring him down, arm tackling him. He is a bowling ball wrecking crew. The Eagles sometimes are a little bit too loyal to their draft picks, i.e. Jalen Reagor. Mm-hmm. And go back to Jaquan Jarrett. You can go back to a number of them. Boston Scott deserves his chance. He's a proven commodity. Okay? He doesn't fumble the ball.
Yep.
You hit him on a swing pass. He has a second gear. Mm-hmm. He can pick up the blitz coming. He can do all the little things you need him to do. I understand DeAndre Swift is your primary back, and rightfully so. Mm-hmm. Boston Scott should be your number 2. No ifs, ands, or buts. If you're not going to get a running back in free agency before that trade deadline tomorrow, then you need to elevate Boston Scott and drop Gainwell to number 3. Mm-hmm. It's that simple, just in terms of productivity and potential productivity.
Agreed. And I think, look, knowing the way that they operate, knowing the way that the Eagles look at things from a very critical way, they don't kid themselves with some of the shortcomings. You could see a couple different things. I mean, and it's Tuesday, by the way, tomorrow is the trade deadline. But you could see them address another spot in the secondary. That wouldn't surprise me.
Yep.
Even though they got fired last week.
They need offensive line depth.
Offensive line depth is certainly a thing, and I think running back's a thing. So it really could go any way. I would be surprised if they sit on their hands. It doesn't mean they're necessarily going to make a trade. Like you have a guy, for example, Leonard Fournette is a free agent right now, who's just out there.
Yep.
I'm not telling you he's great. I'm not telling you he's in his prime or anything like that, but can he come here and help you and give you maybe a little bit more than you're getting from the number 2 spot at running back? Yes. So that's something to look at, and it doesn't cost you anything. You're going to get him on the league minimum without giving anything up. I think that's a possibility, but anything's in play, with the Eagles. And they, especially, just to reiterate, they have a lot of draft picks next year. So they have some resources.
Right now they have 10, I believe it is. And that's not even including the compensatory picks they're going to get for all the defections from this past offseason.
So that definitely could happen, for sure. On either side of the ball, they could end up making a move. And I think I think it will happen, in fact.
And Nathan brings up a good point. They could use a slot corner. They don't have a slot corner, to be honest.
Agreed. But, yesterday, Sidney Brown played slot corner.
Yes.
They started Byard and Blankenship, and they threw Sidney in at the slot corner. Now, I thought Sidney, man, he's a heat-seeking missile. That dude, he is everywhere. I hope he holds up. But he's fun to watch. He's got a real old-school flavor to him. Yes. Where he is not afraid to light a guy up. It's awesome.
Bob Sanders, Brian Dawkins, in terms of just putting their body on the line, Sidney Brown is that dude. I just hope he doesn't knock himself out.
That's the biggest thing. He's built, but he's smaller. Can he hold up? Yeah, Dak, you're right. I mean, if Roby's healthy, you can plug him in there. Nathan says the same thing. Yeah, I agree with that. We only got a really small sample size before he got hurt. So it's tough to say, kind of where things are right now. I'd be fine with that if they feel like he's good to go. But yeah, there's no doubt they got to get better in that area, in pass defense for sure. All right, let's get a timeout, Gunner. Let's really dive into this offense and what we're seeing now with Hurts in the passing game. And it's kind of remarkable because one part of his game has been sort of taken away by that knee injury and also by just sort of direction that they're going, yet he seems to be able to overcome it so far. But we'll talk about that. They got Julio Jones involved. We saw a fake tush push, which was wild.
It was unbelievable. Yes.
Yeah, we'll get into that and more on A.J. Brown and the trade deadline and the lack of rushing, and the lack of a running attack. So that's a little bit concerning for sure. So a lot to dive into. We'll do the defense after that. We'll go around the NFL. We'll look at the teams in the NFC East. What they did.
A lot of big injuries.
Massive injury. Derek, there were 5 quarterbacks in the 1 o'clock window that went down at one point.
Yes.
I mean,
yes.
A lot
of big time injuries. Oh, by the way, I'm getting ready for Christmas early. I brought out one of my mini Christmas mugs.
I like it. I like that. Yeah, that's good. I'm ready, man. I'm ready to get into it. As soon as we get past Halloween, I can dig that. I know some people are like, not till after Thanksgiving. I don't mind the early Christmas. I'm good.
See, stores like Walmart, Lowe's, Home Depot have changed my perspective on when it's the.
It's already out.
Dude, it's been out. They've had Christmas decorations out since early October. I mean, you go to Home Depot and Lowe's and Walmart, whole section's already dedicated to Christmas. It bypassed Thanksgiving. It's all Christmas stuff.
Amazing. I'm seeing the commercials on during the games.
Oh my goodness.
Crazy. It's crazy. All right, quick timeout. Come back. Offense. We dive into the offense. Eagles 7-1 start to this 2023 season. He's Derek Gunn. I am Rob Ellis. Hit the like button if you could, friends. Appreciate that. Let me tell you about Bravo Pizza of Havertown. I'm thrilled that they are a part of the channel. They're a part of our show. I'm in there each and every week. I was in there Friday again talking to the guys. They were all bummed about the Phillies. They're all excited about the Eagles. So they're sports fans just like you and me. They've been family owned since 1985. Alex and the crew in there. Awesome people and incredible food. 20 different styles of pizza daily. Slices to go if you just want to kind of in and out. Boom. They have all different styles. They have the specialized pizza. Any way you want it, they will make it. But if you're not up for pizza, fine. Fresh pasta, sandwiches, wraps, wings, salads. Bravo Pizza of Havertown is committed to the community. They have fundraisers for charities, for schools, for Little Leagues, where the proceeds go to those organizations. You can follow them at the Bravo Pizza of on Instagram and Facebook for daily specials and promotions. They're at 1305 Westchester Pike, Manoa Shopping Center in Havertown, Pennsylvania. That's 1305 Westchester Pike, Manoa Shopping Center in Havertown. Give them a call, 610-446-3810, 610-446-3810. Here's a little bit more from Bravo Pizza of Havertown.
I remember getting my heart broken when they lost the Super Bowl in 2004. We're big Eagles fans. We moved to South Philly because of the Eagles. When they won, we went straight to Broad Street, and everybody was going nuts over there, and it was just a memory that you'll never forget.